Sami Zayn recently revealed the original plans for Roman Reigns and himself, so we'll see what he had to say there. We'll also check out some more Bloodline-related topics, theories for Bray Wyatt, and more. Let's start things off with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. Ever since the beginning of Roman's Tribal Chief era and asking people to acknowledge him, not a lot of superstars have willingly come up to Roman and actually acknowledged him. But the first superstar who came to Roman himself to acknowledge him was Sami Zayn. Sami did actually find himself as the #1 contender to the Universal title back in December 2021, but it wasn't much of an actual feud. Roman came out to defeat Sami Zayn after he was already knocked out, and that was it. Then fast forward a few months later, and then the story of Sami Zayn aligning himself with the Bloodline first began. Now, obviously, what we see today with Sami Zayn's Bloodline role wasn't their original plan and story at all. Sami recently spoke with Mirror Sport and explained what the earlier versions of the story was supposed to be like. He had this to say, quote, "The initial idea was just to have some on-screen interactions every now and again because it made sense as the self-proclaimed locker room leader. I should have a good rapport with the head of the table, Roman Reigns. So we were kind of cooking up that idea. This is one of the most filled out long-term stories I've ever been a part of, and it's long-term, even by WWE standards. Usually we might do 2 or 3 month stories, but I've been aligned with the Bloodline in some respects since April, and we're still only kind of scratching the surface as to where this is going to go." End quote. Sami also mentioned how he's trying to not overdo it and just have fun with it. So this entire addition of Sami Zayn into the Bloodline wasn't part of the original plans. Sami was supposed to have a few segments with the Bloodline, but the entire story caught so much fire that it evolved and snowballed into something much larger. Obviously, fans feel like there's only one way for this storyline to end, and that's with a massive babyface turn for Sami Zayn after getting betrayed by the Bloodline. Some fans think that Sami will team up with Kevin Owens and get the last laugh on Jey Uso by dethroning the Usos as tag team champions. Some fans think that Sami could even turn around and face Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Like we mentioned before, Roman did defend his title against Sami in December 2021, but it wasn't a fair match, and Sami was already knocked out before it started. So after Sami leaves the Bloodline, maybe that's when we could see Sami Zayn get a fair shot at Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Like Sami Zayn said, storylines in WWE tend to have a short lifespan, but this story has been going on for a while, and Sami believes they're just scratching the surface with it. So hopefully there's more great story to tell there, and we'll see some massive payoffs down the line. Maybe Sami's exit from the group plays a role in the Bloodline's fall. We'll just have to wait and see what comes out of this big story on Smackdown. Speaking of the Bloodline, WWE superstars were recently spotted at the red carpet premiere for Marvel's Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Spotted on the red carpet were all members of the New Day, Jimmy Uso, Naomi, and Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks tweeted out the event that she was happy to see all her friends at the premiere. Bray Wyatt is currently preparing to battle twisted versions of himself, family members, and other unknown scary forces that could be more interesting than he is himself. And it's still early on in this story, so at this point, it's hard to predict where they're going with it. It appears that Bray wants to be a more laid-back version of himself, but Uncle Howdy and all these other mysterious characters are pretty much telling Bray to quit the act and join what they're doing. Bray has stated that he's well aware of who these individuals are and what their plan is, but Howie wants nothing to do with it. Obviously, Howdy and these other characters aren't going to stop coming after Bray, no matter how many times he rejects them. So the story could get to a point where Bray's character could have some decisions to make. Face Howdy and company head on with some maybe help of people you can trust, or just give in and let Howdy control him and do their plan. And if Bray is willing to fight them head on, who could he possibly bring along with him? Alexa Bliss is easily a top possibility. Alexa was recently written off of television after an attack from Damage Control. She first returned back in May, but hasn't been up to anything ever since. Lily is still hanging around, but has become completely pointless to the story and just serves as a merchandise item. Alexa's character herself has basically been lost in the shuffle as well. Alexa made a claim right around SummerSlam that she was coming for the Raw Women's title and had it next for whoever walked out of SummerSlam as champion. But Alexa never ended up getting that match and instead became a secondary character to Bianca Belair's story. So Alexa hasn't really been used properly to her full potential since her return. That's why fans are throwing around the idea for Alexa to reunite with Bray, because that would instantly give her a strong and meaningful direction again. Alexa and Bray were a great duo and a great pair of characters when they were together on WWE television. But their story never really had any real direction and had an abysmal end. So it would be pretty interesting to see the two of them get reunited and have their story actually mean something and go somewhere this time around. Bray's White Rabbit teasers leading up to his return even made several nods and references to the history with Alexa Bliss. And sure, Alexa and Bray didn't end on the best and most trustworthy terms within the story. Their last interaction was Alexa betraying the Fiend. But the history with each other is still there. Maybe Bray is desperate for help against all these other forces and decides to take the chance in pairing up with Alexa again. The move of Alexa to Smackdown would also be a good one because the women's division needs the help over there. Not to mention that it could even set up a nice little revenge story for Alexa Bliss herself. Alexa hasn't won a Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship since 2018, where Ronda Rousey defeated her for the Raw Women's title. Alexa hasn't been close to those titles in all these years, and it all started with a loss to Ronda Rousey. Well, now, with Ronda Rousey as the SmackDown Women's Champion, Alexa can not only reunite with Bray, but also try and get her revenge on Ronda for that lost title all those years ago. Maybe Alexa's character gets that little spark back going inside of her because of Bray Wyatt again. Bray and The Fiend transformed Alexa Bliss into a whole other person in 2020, and maybe they can do a version of that again in a slightly different way this time around. Maybe Alexa comes over and tries to get more serious and focused. And like the other fan theories have stated, maybe Alexa could be the one that's messing with Liv Morgan and getting into her head to bring her to Bray Wyatt. If Liv and Alexa form a tag team within Bray's faction, they can try to bring those women tag team titles back to the group. There's just all these great little ideas and theories for Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss's reunion, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.